I think.
But I think God's original design for marriage is that two people, like, because he looked and said that it's not good for the man to be alone because there's no telling what Adam. Let's be honest. He's in this place, that's guarded and protected, and he can pretty much do whatever he wants. There's no telling what Adam was doing. Jumping. He was probably riding bears.
Yeah, and bungee jumping out of the trees with no string.
Yeah. Yeah, he couldn't get hurt at that point in time
because he had a glorified body.
Boy, this is a churchy podcast. This is by far the churchiest podcast I've listened to.
As you see, this is what we talk about.
Yo, what's good, family? It is Phillip and Krystin Godfrey again, back with another episode of Naptime and Nuptials, where
it all goes down when the kids go down.
It all goes down when the kids go down. You may be asking what goes down. All of it.
Everything.
It all kind of.
And the kids
of
literally all just went down.
Yeah, it's been a day.
It has been a day.
Today has been a day.
But we're here.
We are here. So before we get started, I want to thank you guys for tapping in with us as usual. Mm-hmm. We are here to bring you the best and latest and brightest marriage content. So that was not planned, by the way. So every week we drop an episode of marriage content, really inviting you all into our space. What typically happens with Krystin and I is that once the kids go down, we like to sit down and just talk, and we are inviting you all into our conversation. So welcome. You are a part of the family. For those who have been here since, the day one, you guys are called day ones. And as always, please like, comment, subscribe, share the content. It really helps out the channel. Yeah. And it's free. We have paid things for you, but this is free. And so what are we talking about today, Mama?
Okay, so today...
This is Mama, by the way. I have a mother, but this is Mama too. Different Mama.
Very different.
Very, very different for very obvious reasons. All right.
Okay, so today I just wanted to chat a little more casual talk than usual.
Okay. This is not like you at all, but it actually is.
Is marriage supposed to be the pain in the butt that everybody's making it out to be?
As you guys can see, I didn't know what the topic was until this very moment. So I am sitting here just as informed as you all are. I didn't know what she was going to say as a pain in the butt. Is it supposed to be? I doubt it.
I don't think so.
I doubt it.
I think our culture, everybody's just always so annoyed, offended, upset all the time. And I'm just wondering how we got here.
Sensitive.
Yeah, sensitive. I'm wondering how we got to this place and it feeding over into every area of our lives, like how we interact with our spouse, our kids, our jobs, our hobbies, like the things that we love. Like, I just feel like there's just this underlying, like, maybe it's stress. Maybe, I don't know what it is, but this underlying annoyance with everything.
Yeah, I mean, I think the world is moving much faster now than it has ever been, maybe. I mean, I don't know. That's relative because I didn't live, in the 20s.
In the 40s.
Yeah, or the 18s.
Where you had to grind your own wheat.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure the world probably felt like it was moving fast, before they had cars, and now they had cars,
Yeah,
so
true.
Probably relative. But I do think that there's so much like pulling at our time these days, and I mean, this may just be because we're in this space, but I do think that marriage in its traditional sense is somewhat, and not necessarily marriage directly. I really think it's more the family is under attack, like with all of the activities and, how immersive they are now, like sports and drama and theater, like music. Everything is such an immersive experience now at such an early age. Like, why do kids have pitching coaches at 5?
Yeah.
Why do we have
I don't know.
basketball coaches at 4 and 5? Like,
that's true.
Private coaches. That's a little strange, if you ask me. But anyway, I think that's kind of probably putting stress on marriages. Oh, that's not to mention inflation. Oh, man, let's not talk about inflation and groceries. The budget, so,
Yeah, I think people are just generally stressed, and it's just rolling over into marriages. And as we're watching, a lot of marriages are failing as a result. So
Yeah.
since our goal here is to build a community of kingdom marriages, I think that we have to examine like what makes a kingdom marriage.
Yeah. What's the
And how do we
definition of a
get
kingdom marriage?
back to that
Yeah.
definition?
Okay. I'm just gonna sit here and look at the camera. You got the notes. I didn't get notes today
No, I
either.
didn't send him
by
any
the way.
notes.
Well, I guess it would be kind of tough to get notes if I just found out the topic.
Absolutely.
You know?
So one of the big things is I think like we talked about this before, but you can't build a kingdom marriage, one where you're seeking to honor God and build his kingdom and raise healthy kingdom families if you guys aren't playing on the same team. And I think even I see it amongst like friends and family, a lot of people just aren't playing on the same team anymore. And I think, again, like we said, like the world has just become so divisive.
You just gonna put your friend's business
that
out
it's
there?
even spilling out into
All on Abraham Lincoln's web.
whatever. It's fine. This is helping someone. So they can be helping someone.
Okay.
But people aren't playing on the same team. And so it's just leaking over to marriages and homes and families. And so...
I mean, but if you think of... I think I've said this before on the podcast, but humans are very selfish creatures.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
like...
Your goal is self-preservation.
You come into the world and you're a baby.
And
like, I mean, babies are like
yeah.
the most selfish of the creatures.
Because they have to stay alive.
In like tiny form. So I guess we would be like pretty selfish of the creatures as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't actually grow up. They just like evolve as a person, but they're still kind of like a baby.
Yeah. Because a baby's goal is to get their needs met and nobody else's. Like, because they don't have any awareness.
To, though. That's the only way to survive for
That's
them.
how you live. And so if you never grow up from just wanting your needs met.
But I think like people never really take the shift in marriage, like take the shift from I'm not married to being married.
Yeah.
Like a wedding doesn't shift you. Like that isn't an automatic thing. I know people are like, oh, we're getting married. We're going to be married on this day. But like if you don't shift your mental, like if you don't shift in your mind, your mindset, and ultimately like your mindset will shift your habits and different things like that. If you don't do that work, then it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
When or if you're actually married, because mentally you're not.
Well, and I think about before, like I used to work in bridal, and like people spend so much time, so much money, so many resources planning their wedding. They're not actually planning their marriage. And so I think that you spend all this time focusing on this one thing. And again,
can we talk about weddings for a second?
Sure, go for it.
Okay. Never really understood the idea of paying for someone to come to a party with me.
Okay, so I have a new revelation about weddings that I was telling Phillip about recently, and I disagree now because we have parties for almost everything, but in the Bible, the biggest parties were weddings. They were days long. They spent all the money. They had all the parties, all the festivities.
But like they got so much more from the wedding.
I don't think that was the point though. The point was to invite people to celebrate you.
Yeah.
No. No. Prove it.
They got like cattle.
Prove it. People didn't bring them that. That was the dowry.
No, they gave a dowry, but then they also inherited so much more from the other family. And people heaped blessings upon their head.
It was a party.
Like if you go to like Eastern weddings, they are giving into those people.
It's still a party.
And that's a party.
Yeah.
Again, I don't understand why I have to throw a party
in the Bible
for other people.
In the Bible
to celebrate me.
They threw huge parties for weddings. It is what it is.
I guess Jesus did turn water into wine, and then they turned up a little longer.
Yeah.
It was a wedding.
It was at a wedding. They went at Cana.
Yeah, Cana, Galilee.
And now I don't remember where I was. Thank you for that.
I still don't fully understand it, but that's neither here nor there. Especially when you have to invite people to your wedding that you don't really like. Okay, just talk because I'm going to be...
Well, okay, so here we are.
Or if you have parents that are like, hey, you want to invite your first grade teacher? No, I haven't seen her since the first grade. I don't think I have to invite her.
But the point is...
What about your Sunday school teacher?
How do we bring our marriages back in line?
We didn't go to Sunday school.
So what was God's original design for marriage? We kind of touched on this last week.
Yeah, I forgot what I said, but it was when he brought the woman to Adam, and Adam called her Eve, and then God put them in a garden, a protected place of pleasure, and an enclosure, and Adam was like, "Ooh, that's a woman, titties," and it's definitely what he said.
I think you added that.
No, I'm definitely what he said. He was like, "Oh, I've never seen those before." Like, "Oh, this is now
Well,
bone
he
of my
didn't,
bone." Hold
it
on.
was a while before he
Hold on.
realized that she was naked.
I don't think. I think there was a while he realized before she was naked, but he knew what he saw. He just didn't have a word for it just yet.
Yeah, I got you.
Because he said, "Oh, this bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh." Oh yeah, she gonna be called woman because she came out of me. Which we can go down the rabbit hole, but we're not gonna go there right now.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
But I think.
I think God's original design for marriage is that two
Companionship.
people.
Yeah.
Like, because he looked and said that it's not good for the man to be alone, because there's no telling what Adam. Let's be honest. He's in this place, that's guarded and protected, and he can pretty much do whatever he wants. Okay. There's no telling what Adam was doing. Jumping. He was probably riding bears.
Yeah, and bungee jumping out of the trees with no string.
Yeah. Yeah, he couldn't get hurt at that point in time
because he had a glorified body.
Boy, this is a churchy podcast. This is by far the churchiest podcast I've listened to.
As you see, this is what we talk about.
So, I forgot where I was.
No, you were just saying that original design.
Oh yeah, and so he's like, this is not good for the man to be alone. He's hanging from trees. He's swimming with sharks naked. He is riding bears. Like, this is not good for thy man to be alone. Yeah. I'm going to make a helpmeet for him, someone who will be with him. So I think that is God's original design for marriage, a helpmeet, two people in a relationship helping each other.
I think a lot of people are married, but they're still alone.
Yeah, and that's so unfortunate, man.
Yeah, I think that's part of it as well. Like, how can you build together? How can you walk together? How can you, advance the kingdom? And how can you be happy, joyful?
Yeah.
If you truly are just feeling alone, in your marriage.
I don't know. I think it's the way society has set itself up. I don't know if people know how to not be alone.
Yeah.
Effectively.
Isolation. Because you can isolate yourself in a room full of people. You can isolate yourself with a spouse who wants to be with you and wants to help you and walk beside you. And you just...
I don't know if we talked enough about people healing through their trauma and stuff. And so people bring all of that into marriage, and I don't know if the other parties always know how to navigate it. And I don't know if the other part, or the I don't want to say offended party, but the kind of hurt party in that situation, I don't know if they know that they need help or know to get help or how to get help, or even that there's an issue. But I think a biggest part is that we always talk through personally is making sure that each other understands that we are here to help each other.
Yeah.
So if Krystin, the way I think about things, and I'm not always right, if Krystin is one way when we meet each other, and then we've been together for X number of time, and she's the same exact way after all that time, then what's really the point of us being together? And vice versa. If we're not going to help each other grow and evolve and mature and expand and prosper, there's really no point for us to be together. Like, I don't want to be the same. I would rather be growing and expanding and multiplying and all this stuff. The Genesis 1:28 stuff. So
yeah. And I think too, you said something that made me think of something. And I know we said at the beginning of the episode,
I'm very thought-provoking.
Is marriage a pain? And I think it's not that marriage is a pain. It's that people bring their pain and have their pain. And then they get married. And their pain comes with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when the Bible says that they shall become one flesh. Yeah. For this reason shall a man leave his father and the mother, and the two shall become one flesh. And be joined with his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. That's a process. Yeah. And I think people expect that to kind of be like, oh, we're married, we're joined. But no, it says, the two shall become one flesh. Yeah. So that become is implication of time. Yeah. And that there's a time aspect that it's kind of like being planted. So it was like if you plant a seed, And so let's think of your marriage as a seed. So you plant a seed into your marriage. The day that marriage is planted is at the altar. And then you have to do work to cultivate that seed into a plant, and then the plant into a tree, and then a tree into, fruits, and then fruits into more trees.
Yeah.
But it has to be rooted and planted first.
Yeah.
It has to be planted to root itself first.
Yeah.
The cool part is, and I'm on a tangent here, but the cool part is that the Bible says that the earth does the work. So if we allow our marriage to be planted, we allow ourselves to be planted in good earth, then the earth will work on us. It's not just some dark place, some hidden place.
Yeah.
It's actually a place of grace because God is allowing you to grow in the dark place before you begin to show yourself.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah.
So you mentioned being planted, and we also mentioned...
I feel like I'm being interviewed here.
Yeah,
go ahead.
It's kind of cool. But you mentioned being planted, and then you also talked about the garden where they were like, they were put in place into this safe place. Mm-hmm. So I think
a protected place of pleasure.
If we use a protected place of pleasure, we could use that same analogy to apply to our marriages.
Yes.
So if marriage is supposed to be a protected place of pleasure, then how do we move from this painful place that so many marriages are in to that place?
I think you have to see Eden as a real place.
Yeah.
And it's Eden as a possibility for you.
You have to believe that it's a possibility for your marriage to be joyful and rooted in a safe place. Yeah. And like, I truly think, like, I know, and I haven't always been this way. We haven't always been this way. Like, I think you have to get to a place where you guys can talk about anything.
Yeah. That's tough.
Where it's safe to do it. Like,
that's tough.
You can talk about anything, but do you feel safe?
You can't really talk about anything all the time, but yeah.
Do you feel safe? Like,
you definitely tell me to not talk about stuff in certain times.
To you? To me?
No, not to you. Just in general.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, yeah, we probably shouldn't talk about that right now. We're in public.
No, to me, like, our marriage is a safe, protected place.
Okay, I get it now.
I was like, huh?
I was a little confused.
Yeah,
we're back. We're back here.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, we talked about this. If it's a pain point, then how do you get back? So I think one thing is just continue to build on healthy communication. I feel like every single episode we have talked about communication in some form, and it's because it's so, so important. You can't have, like, you can't build, you can't grow, you can't change.
Let's say something.
Yeah.
I think communication is very important, but you have to build like a foundation of vulnerability and trust as well.
Yeah.
So not just communicating as in speaking or talking, but communicating vulnerably.
Yeah.
And in a way that is trustful. What I will say too, and from me being a husband, and I think that some men may be like this, is that, I think men are looking, at times, men can be looking for safe spaces to share because it hasn't really, culture hasn't always been like inviting of men sharing. And so if they do like share something with the wife and don't get a response or get like a kind of weird response or a negative response, they're less likely to share going forward. And so that's kind of what I mean by vulnerability, but we have to kind of take the time in communication to step back and really assess what our previous communications have been like, and then kind of walk through the process of, repenting for those things and asking for forgiveness of your spouse, and then trying to build a foundation of communication, not just building on a broken foundation, and then expecting it to kind of stand.
And not this will not be a tangent I go on, because it would definitely be a tangent, but just like piggybacking back again on the pain part. I think like we've made vulnerability not cool for guys.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think even for women, like, I feel like boys used to be told to be tough or whatever, which is BS. We know this. Like, you have to be vulnerable, okay? But I think now, like, even women and little girls are taught to toughen up and, like, be so strong all the time that people don't know how to be vulnerable. What? You laughed.
I was going to get on a rabbit hole, but you go ahead.
We don't even have time to get on that rabbit hole.
No, that's fine.
But
that's why
everybody's been taught. It's like, I don't know. It's all like it's working together. to tear down families and marriage, and
You told me I couldn't get on that rabbit hole.
yeah, we just don't have time.
Okay.
We can dedicate an episode to that if you
No,
want.
it's fine. It's fine. We don't have time.
But so anyway, like we said, but we want to bring the joy back. We
Yeah,
want to bring
let's
back
bring the joy back.
the unity and the love and the peace and the joy in our marriages.
You want to be back the unity.
I
and the
know
love.
it's like a song.
The unity and the
It's like
love.
a hippie
It's definitely not like a song. Have you read Psalms?
song. Yeah.
Oh, song. Okay. I was like, that's not a song at
No.
all. Have you read those?
Yeah.
It's kind of, they're a little up and down, I'm going to be honest with you. It's like riding a boat. Like, oh, man.
He was having the time.
Oh, buddy.
But yeah. So anyway,
It's
I
like,
just
oh, this
think-
is the song written in David's cave. I can tell. Wow. You didn't even have to preface it. Okay. I'm back.
but yeah, okay, so I was just saying like we talked about the pain, but there's
talk about
also
the
the pleasure. Yeah, absolutely. And so how do we bring it back? So we talked about communication. What else can we do to bring the joy and the love and the unity back into our marriages?
I think, communication is an aspect, but I also think having fun.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
I would hope that when people were dating, they were having fun. So, like, try to do some of that stuff. Maybe
Yeah.
not like the
Find
same.
it again.
Maybe not like the same exact stuff, because some of y'all want saved. Y'all got the date.
Yeah. And the fun
So
one.
maybe not some of the exact same stuff, but do some stuff that you used to do.
Yeah.
Do stuff together. Like
You know what?
find something
When
that
was
maybe the
last
other
time-
person likes, and you do that,
When was
and
the
vice
last time we
versa.
went bowling?
I know.
You know what we used to do?
Well, you
y'all?
lost my bowling ball. You don't want to
So
talk
we
about
used to
that.
go to the movies
You-
all
you-
the
you're
time.
skating past. You're just skating past the point here.
The bowling ball. But yeah, for example, we used to go to the movies all the time. We don't do it anymore, but we should. We should just why not? We used to go almost every week. That was like our thing.
Yeah.
Man,
Then
we can bring it back.
Then you became fertile.
We had a number of children back to back. Season.
Technically, it was but
We.
you kind of did
It was
most
for
of the
sure
work.
we.
Kinda did most of the work. I guess I kind of do most of the work now. Huh? Wow, you kind of got me back for that. I just realized that this was all a ploy.
Get your kids.
I
Bye.
feel worked. All right.
Okay.
So yeah, have fun. And I think really build like a friendship. That's
Yeah.
what, yeah. Like we talk about communication. I guess that's what I was trying to say. Like build a friendship.
Yes.
And be
Or
friends.
rebuild a friendship. I think
rebuild,
people start
yeah.
off as friends, and then life happens, and kids happen, and like jobs and all the things happen, and the friendship gets lost. Like, you gotta find it again.
Yeah, and you gotta be willing to fight and
Yeah.
work for it. Yeah.
Yeah, and we get so that was a child. You probably heard.
Every week. Every single week.
I think they called Phillip.
We're just gonna hope that they stay in there.
Yeah. Anyway,
We're
but yeah,
we're gonna
like
talk really fast.
when friends fall off, it's like a normal thing. But hey, your marriage is a friendship too. Don't let that fall. Okay, you need that.
Yeah. So, all right, we got communication, we got friendship and fun.
Yeah.
What else? That's it.
I think we haven't talked about this much, but I think it's important that people learn to pray together. I think people are afraid of praying out loud.
So this is why we don't talk about that. Because we don't really pray together a whole lot.
Not all the time, but we do.
No, we do periodically. We have different styles.
For sure.
Like Kristen's like a sitter prayer, and I'm like a louder
Pacer,
prayer,
punching
like a screamer,
the air. Yeah.
angrier, rebuker. I guess she rebukes stuff too. I just do it with my voice.
Very different styles.
Very different styles. They aren't really conducive to praying at
To
the
praying
same
together.
time.
Not every.
No.
All the time.
No.
But
Because it's kind of funny because sometimes I'll hear her pray. I'm like, that's how you pray? That's so interesting. It's like, I hope that one gets up there because I know mine's go. I don't know. I don't know about hers.
we're very different people. in
Anyway,
general.
but yes, I do agree. I think praying together
Yeah.
is a wonderful practice, especially if you find that it works for you.
Yeah.
One thing that we started doing recently, we haven't talked a whole lot about this, but we take communion. That's
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
probably something that we take communion. We try to do it every day.
There's grace for that.
we're gonna get back on that. But at least weekly, we take communion, and the Bible says, as often as you do this, do it in remembrance of me. And so we do it often.
Yeah.
To remember the death, burial, and resurrection of Yeshua HaMashiach. And so we do that.
Yeah.
And I think, honestly, I feel like that has really helped us to kind of put things in perspective when you sit there and think about how Yeshua's body was broken and, he bled and died. And for us, it really puts a lot of stuff really isn't as important.
Absolutely.
After you think about that.
For sure.
And pray about that. So, yeah.
Yeah. That's been the big one. So that when
Not
I say
really
prayer,
a lot to argue about.
That has been something that we've been pretty really consistent at one point.
And you have to forgive people before you
Absolutely,
do communion.
You have to repent.
So
and forgive.
I mean, can't even be arguing. I mean, so it is what it is.
That is true.
I just thought about that. It's interesting how that works together, huh?
Now you know.
Again, we should just brand this as like the church's podcast that there is.
Yeah. Well, we should. I'm gonna write these points out and I'm gonna put them in the comments.
I believe in you.
For sure. I know I can do it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So what else you got?
I think that's it. I'm gonna cut this one today because I think we've said.
I feel baby feet approaching.
No, I feel.
I mean, from
like
outside
there's
the room,
more
like
than
that.
enough.
There's little children feet from that should be asleep, not new little children. I have to be specific because my mother's watching.
And they're not even like babies anymore.
Okay. All right. It depends on your definition of baby. Thank you guys for tapping in with us. This is today's episode.
Yeah.
What was the title again? Is the pain?
Is marriage pain?
Is the pain in the butt of marriage?
That wasn't it.
No, that wasn't it.
It's okay.
You definitely said pain in your butt. You definitely said pain in the butt.
Is marriage the pain in the butt that everybody says it is?
Okay. That's pretty much what I said. It's pretty accurate to what I said. Anyway.
Okay.
So thank you guys for tapping in with us. If you enjoyed the content, even if you didn't like it, just tap, subscribe, like, comment, share. Come back next time. Maybe it'll be better. And if it's not better, then come back this time. After that, it'll definitely be better. We appreciate you guys tapping in with us. We love you guys, praying for you guys. Again, Phillip and Krystin from Naptime and Nuptials, where it all goes down when the kids go down, and we want to see your marriage thrive.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. We out. Peace.
Bye.